Okay, so I'm doing this video because I currently have had a lot of people ask me how I made this, how I knew what to do, all of that stuff. It's copied. This is a heated rain barrel system. Basically kind of making sure your chickens have water, a set it and forget it system. So I'll just this is a rain barrel, obviously 50-gallon capacity is pretty typical for a rain barrel. I do have 2 spigots on mine, which I didn't find that as common. Hello. The girls are like, what are you doing? But anyway, I just wanted to do a quick kind of tutorial for people who were asking me how to build this. So currently, one thing I would change, this is the return. These are 4-foot braided stainless steel washer hoses, just like what you would put on your washer and dryer in your laundry room. There's a couple things that I would do differently. Currently, it's just sitting in there. I have cut out a portion of the screen to make it so that this is the return. So the water is coming out of this hose bib and it's being pumped into this part of the water bar, and then it goes through the water bar and comes up this side and it goes into here. There is actually a fitting that you can get for right here. Drill a small hole in here, attach the fitting, which would be just a 3/4 inch threaded male hose bib type situation, and then you can actually screw this onto here. I think that's going to correct how tight this hose is. I literally cannot move this rain barrel, or that is either going to come out, or on the other end, that's not going to be able to reach to the other side. So that was not something that I planned whenever I designed it. It just kind of worked out that way, but I am going to probably get that fitting for the side right there, just so it's not as tight. This is a 4-foot water bar, so it's 4 foot in length. And then I wanted to kind of just show you some basic anatomy of the one that's already working and in use. So it comes in, you can kind of see the washer hose connects to a brass fitting, which is basically just a 3/4 inch adapter. So the washer hose itself opening is a 3/4 inch, and then the pump is 1/2 inch. So, and I have a chicken on my back right now. Okay, come on, let's get down. Can we just talk about this right now? Okay, anyway, so there's a brass fitting, and then you can see that there's Teflon tape on there. Very important that arrow must be facing in the direction of the flow of water. Now I have 2 chickens on my back as I'm bending over to record this. Okay, so then there are just like pipe straps that actually connect this. And if I take a step back, come on girls, you guys gotta get down. There they are. It's gonna look like it's just slightly not level, and that is actually done intentionally, because when the chickens hit this and water comes out of here, that could potentially introduce air into this pipe, and so you don't want air to be trapped at that end by your pump. You want it to be slightly angled up like this. I'm exaggerating, of course, but you want it to be slightly angled up so that the air is going to be pushed out the end here and then return back up to your rain barrel. So that being said, we're going to go into the shop now that you've kind of seen how the one that is in use and working works. I am going to take you into the shop, and then so I went and bought the pieces to make another one of these because I kind of want to have a backup. I had a really hard time figuring out the fittings because I didn't have plans to make this. I just saw it from a company that I absolutely love. Matt from Carolina Coops, big shout out to you. Maker of the world's best chicken coops and chicken coop accessories. So I saw that they were creating these for other people's chicken coops that they were creating. And I was like, man, that sounds like a great thing. Super easy, set it and forget it. There's no chipping up, you know, frozen water in the winter. I currently do not have my de-icer in use because it's spring right now. It's the beginning of May, and I know that I'm not going to need this for a while. So this one it's currently not plugged in because what can happen is a lot of the times when these fail, it's because minerals build up on this metal part here from exposure to the water. And those minerals that mineral buildup, without cleaning that off, that's what creates the failure in these a lot of times. So I don't want to keep this unnecessarily submerged in my rain barrel if I know I'm not going to need it for several months. So this is the brand that I use. I know there are other brands out there. There's actually previous models from this same brand that would probably work just fine. This one, I just got it because of the reviews that I read and some of the failures with the other ones. My understanding is that this is kind of the newer, upgraded piece of that same brand or that same previous model. So note, it is safe in plastic, so definitely going to be the perfect application for putting into a rain barrel. And then a 50-gallon stock tank, it's actually made just for that, so that works out perfectly for my rain barrel. This will keep water not frozen down to -20 degrees. So perfect application. That's exactly what we're going to use it for. I have set out here, don't mind me, I'm wearing my husband's Crocs to come out to the shop. I have pretty much everything that you're going to need to use to create this. So this is actually a 4-foot piece, you can see on our workbench. This is a 4-foot piece of PVC pipe. Really important to note, I did not do this with my own, and you can see that's why my hoses are tight out there and why I'm wanting to add that little attachment to the edge of the rain barrel, because of the length of this, it made it to where the hoses would barely reach the rain barrel. So my recommendation is maybe not go 48 inches. Maybe we go, you know, 40 inches instead, just a little bit less, just so your hoses aren't so tight. That's in a perfect world, that's how I would do it. It's going to depend on several things though. How many nipples you want to put on it. They say average spacing 8 to 12 inches, kind of similar to like a roost bar. You don't want people fighting over water source basically. So I have the PVC pipe here. This is, my husband actually already had this, which was amazing to me, but this is a Craftsman tap and die set. So what's going to happen is you're going to put the holes on here, and it actually comes with a specific instructions about how big you need the holes to be to attach. You're going to put a hole in the PVC pipe, and then using these, don't ask me which one. I know one of them's 11/32, and then one of them's another similar size. But what you're going to do is you're going to mark out your placement of, I just divided the length into 5 parts, you know, spaced out my nipples evenly. And then from there, you don't want to just put plumber's tape on this, which is the Teflon tape, this stuff. You don't want to just put that on here and then snap this on here. You actually do want to tap the hole, which that is going to create a thread in the hole. So yes, this is threaded. You can kind of see that. This does have threads on it. However, if you're putting this, it's kind of like a screw and then something that you're screwing into. You oftentimes, and will have a better bond, less chance for leakage, if you actually create threads on the item that you're trying to do this with. Now, does everybody on the planet have this? Probably not. I didn't even know this was a thing. I was shocked that my husband had it, but he restores old tractors and stuff, so I'm sure he deals with a lot of stripped bolts and screws. So anywho, this is gonna go onto here. And then from there, we're gonna go through the parts that you'll need to create the attachments, basically, so that you are ready to attach to the washer hoses that will go to and from your rain barrel. The first thing that you're going to need, these are separate. These do not come together. This is a standard, so I am using a 1.5 inch PVC pipe. Let me see if you can see it on here. Here it is at the bottom. So 1.5 inch PVC pipe. My understanding is that Matt from Carolina Coops told me that that is the preferred width diameter of this. And it seems to make sense to me because ultimately you have to remember that in the coldest parts of the winter, there's going to be water in here. So if there's even a small chance that you're going to get some freezing here, even on the outsides of the pipe, the smaller it is, the more likely you are for this to crack and break. And the more water you have in here, the less likely it is to freeze. Also, keep in mind, we're keeping water circulated. This pump is going to be running, you know, all the time. So keeping warm water circulated through here, the bigger it is, the less chance of freezing, the less chance of cracking and that kind of thing. So onto the fittings. You need, I'm so not handy, inclined for PVC construction, but you're gonna need one of these doohickeys, whatever this thing is called. There's a 1/2 inch opening here, and then it's the exact same fitting, but with a 3/4 inch, okay? And then these are standard 1.5 inch pipe couplers. So what that means is that this is actually gonna fit over, this is actually going to fit over a 1.5 inch pipe. Okay, so you can see that it's a pretty snug fit. It's going to be even more snug whenever we put the primer and the cement on there, and then you'll press it into there and that will bond together. So 3/4 inch and a 1/2 inch opening. The reason for the 1/2 inch is because that is the same size as the pump that we looked at earlier. So the pump opening is a 1/2 inch. And then you're going to go, oh, well, I won't be able to hook on a washer hose that's a 3/4 inch fitting without some type of adapter. And that is exactly what this is. So these are going to go in here. You will obviously cement those and bond those together with this stuff. You need a primer and cement. There's instructions on the packages for how to do this. So you will need these fittings for the ends of your PVC pipe. And then from there, how are you going to hook a 3/4 inch female onto this other female, which means that the threads are on the inside? You have to create a male fitting. And I have done that by using a 3/4 to 3/4 inch nipple. This is basically just a brass fitting that turns a female opening into a male one. So this is going to get screwed into there. Obviously you're going to Teflon tape this and wrap it just a couple times, and then you're going to thread that into there. This is what the package looks like from Home Depot. And then from this one, the pipe is going to be here, and then your pump is going to connect directly into here, also with Teflon tape. Coming out the other end, if you go back in the video, you'll see that there's another male fitting. So, okay, great. But the problem is male fitting from the pump to female fitting on the hose would work normally perfectly, except for their different sizes. So that is why I have this here. So in the 1/2 inch side, this is going to hook onto, so the pump's going to be coming out of here. The black pump that we saw earlier is going to be coming out of here. This will connect to the pump. Okay, so it's going to turn your 1/2 inch from the pump into a 3/4 inch male fitting that will then your washer hose will connect directly onto these threads. All of these fittings need to have Teflon tape applied to them, at least, you know, a couple laps around the threads, if you will. So these are the fittings This is what you're gonna need from Home Depot. It's a hex bushing. And then this, also your hoses and such will come with these rubber washers. You will also probably have to put these rubber washers inside the washer hose adapter. The end of the washer hose is gonna have a recessed area. I had to put a couple of these in each one to make them fit and no leaks, to compress the end of that, because you'll see on the washer hose it's actually loose. And it allows for you to put as many or as few of these as you need. The other thing, now I personally, I like to have my pump running all the time. You can make it to where it's gravity fed, because if you looked at my rain barrel, it's on a stand. And so it's gonna be gravity fed for the most part. However, there's not gonna be water returning to the barrel without that pump running. So for me, I like to keep my pump running all the time. I think it cuts down on, you know, potential for mosquito larvae and algae formation and all of that. So I like to keep mine running all the time. If you want to have it where yours only runs in the winter time, just because you need it for the heat, that's fine. You will need this switch though. This is a thermostatic switch. So this is what it looks like. And only the pump will be plugged into this, okay? That's why you only need one outlet. This heater here, this is self-regulating. So as soon as the water gets down below 40 degrees, this is going to automatically turn on, just being plugged into a regular outlet. This is self-regulating. Your pump has to be plugged into this, because it is not self-regulating. Once you plug the pump in, the pump's gonna turn on, unless it's plugged into this. This will make it only turn on when the water is, once again, I think below 45, and then once the weather gets above 50, this will turn off. It becomes a complete set it and forget it system. So, rundown again. First, you are going to cut your PVC to length. Like I said, I do recommend less than 4 feet, just because of how far apart that puts your ends, and it makes it really hard for your pipes, or excuse me, your hoses to be able to reach back to your rain barrel. So I'd say probably 40 inches would be fine. You're going to measure out and drill your holes into the PVC pipe for the nipples. Okay, these are horizontal nipples. I've heard not so great things about the vertical nipples. It kind of reminds, it actually goes on the bottom of something almost like this, and then it reminds me almost of like a hamster type situation. They have to press it like this, and then the water comes down. This is a similar scenario, but this does give a little bit of, you can kind of see this has a little ledge. The water will collect on this little ledge here, and then they can drink from that. So also a note about these, if you look on Amazon, I got this on Amazon, I got this on Amazon, I got this on Amazon. If you look on Amazon and you find these, the pump also came from Amazon. If you look on Amazon and you look for this type of nipple, you will see a couple different offerings, okay? I highly, highly recommend getting the one that says it is made in the USA. There are several Chinese knockoffs of this type of nipple system, and it's just not worth it for me to constantly have to be taking it apart and replacing these nipples if they're leaking. This mechanism, this spring-loaded mechanism in here, I've just seen a lot of bad reviews on the Chinese-made ones. So get the ones that are made in the USA. I don't recall off the top of my head what the name of the company is, but they're definitely, you can feel that they're a little bit heavier duty plastic. And my understanding is that there's a pretty good warranty on these as well. So I got 5 of these. You see I only have 1 extra sitting out right now for my backup one. I'm going to have to order some more for that. And I will have to potentially, I'm thinking about ordering another pump just to have a backup pump as well, since mine is going to be running all the time. So this is kind of a rundown. I had a heck of a time figuring this out, so this will cut down on some time for you guys. So these are the parts that you need. Come on. So each of these, and these will all be in the 1.5 inch section. Okay, a couple are here. Don't know what these guys are called, something. These two are the same piece. 1/2 inch opening, 3/4 inch opening. You will need these nipples from Amazon. It comes with this. This actually goes on the end of your drill. This connects onto here so that you can actually screw these in with your drill. You will need Teflon tape. This actually came with one of the items. I couldn't tell you what it was. I'm pretty sure it ended up coming with either the pump or the nipples. This is not something I purchased. It ended up coming with it. So we actually had the PVC pipe on hand already, and then we also had the straps to attach it to the coop itself. So I did not have to purchase those, but both can be found at Home Depot very easily. And then we have our PVC cement and primer as well. So you can use the alternative for this as well, but you do not have to. I've just found from the reviews, obviously this is not based on my own experience, I haven't used this yet. The reviews that I read, that this one has less chance of failure. So anywho, questions or comments? Let me know.